It's going to be a slow week from me, guys, unfortunately. The cold weather mixed with my unhealthy lifestyle equals feeling like shit. So, we're going to get this done today, and then you might see me on Sunday for Survivor Series review. But, we've got a lot to talk about today. There's drama with Fightful Select and fucking everyone else online. That's Fightful are being destroyed, rightfully so. AEW in Australia, you know, the stadium show AEW was going to do in Australia. Well, it's not a stadium show anymore. Ricky Starks, GCW and AEW, there's a lot of drama there. We're going to talk about that, but first we need to talk about something WWE that's really pissed me off, okay? So, when they introduced the Women's United States Championship, that pissed me off because it devalues the original United States Championship. You want a Women's Midcard Championship? Call it something else. Give it a new design. New name, new design. Not a copy of what's already there, okay? But that's what they did. That pissed me off, but I thought, okay, United States Championship isn't really that important anyway, to be honest. At least we've still got the Intercontinental Championship as a championship that can still have prestige and that can still mean something. Well, apparently not. Apparently WWE have decided, hey, you IWC fucking virgin freaks that love to simp over Bayley's ass, hey, we're going to give you what you want just so our ratings can decline even more and just so we can show people how progressive we are. No, there was no need for a second women's mid-card championship, and there was certainly no need to copy any of the fucking men's championships, right? You did it with the World Championships, alright, whatever, but the World Championships, they can somewhat deal with those twins being around, right? They can deal with that. The Midcard Championships, no. They can't deal with that. Those championships are going to fucking die, okay? The Intercontinental Champion, Bron Breakker, he's not going to be the only Intercontinental Champion anymore. Now he's the Men's Intercontinental Champion. What the fuck is that? It's like the Men's Royal Rumble. No, it's just the Royal Rumble, motherfucker. Men's money, no, okay? Women's wrestling is not as big of a draw that you need to copy every single thing the men do. You don't need to do it. You don't. Okay? When the Royal Rumble comes around, tons of interest is into the men's Royal Rumble match, and then you get people saying, well, who do you think's going to win the women's? And that's how they leave it, because they use it for engagement. Don't actually care themselves. They don't actually care themselves, okay? I'm one of the only people that comes on here to admit that I do not care. I don't care, right? There are certain women's wrestlers I do care about. The rest I do not. The certain ones I do care about, I care about because they actually look imposing and they actually look like they could beat me up. Rhea Ripley, Raquel Rodriguez. Fucking, who else is there that's massive? Even Nia Jax. Okay? But when you give me 5'1" Roxanne Perez, 5 foot whatever she is, Liv Morgan, what am I supposed to do with that? They don't look like wrestlers. They don't. How am I supposed to buy into these people? They don't look like wrestlers. They're bad at promos. How am I supposed to buy into these women? Okay? How am I supposed to buy into a 30 women's Royal Rumble match when there's only 3 women I care about and 2 of them I only actually care about, and one of them is Nia Jax. You got Rhea, Raquel and Nia. They're the only women I will show any fucking interest in because they look like they could break my neck, right? Whereas all the other women, it'd be the other way around. I'm not saying I'm a woman beater, I'd never do that, but hypothetically, it'd be the other way around, okay? And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way at all, right? So WWE have gone and fucking devalued the Intercontinental Championship, and now, how am I supposed to care about it, man? It's one of my favourite championships of all time, and you've just gone and devalued it. So I'm pissed off, okay? But we're gonna leave that there. Next, we need to talk about Fightful. And Fightful's going to be a source for later on, unfortunately. But we're going to talk about Fightful right now. And Fightful are getting themselves into some shit, mainly Sean Ross Sapp. But obviously we had the Bobby Lashley stuff at the Scrum last weekend, when you had Kate saying, "Oh, a black man, I better ask him about black things," rather than, "I better ask him about professional wrestling things. I better ask, he's a black man, how does it feel to be around other black men?" That's what Kate from Fightful basically did last weekend, okay? And they call us racist. Make it make sense, but now people are coming out with their screenshots about Sean Ross Sapp. He messages people, he threatens people, and then he blocks people. Yesterday, he went after Phil Marks of Pro Wrestling Times. He called Phil Marks a psychopath, I believe it was, right? And I'm just thinking, how's this guy? I've spoke to Phil, right? I've had many conversations with Phil. He doesn't sound like a psychopath to me. He sounds like he makes videos about you because it's interesting and generates views. It's content. That's not psychopathic. And that's what Sean Ross Sapp does. Sean Ross Sapp likes to frame people into the worst image he can, even though that isn't accurate, right? Devontae Rackley, Millennial Smark, he put out a video yesterday really exposing Sean, because Sean accused him of celebrating Ashley Mazzaro's death, but Sean had not watched his video. He literally saw the thumbnail and said, "You're doing this," when in actual fact, that isn't the case, right? Basically, Sean Ross Sapp and the people at Fightful are a bunch of fucking weirdos, man. I don't understand why you can't just fucking be normal. Be normal. You know what I mean? People are going to give you shit whether you're normal or not, right? That's fine. That is how fucking being a content creator works, and how being a public figure works, right? Fucking Ross, kicking it with Ross, he gets hate, right? And I don't understand why. How can you hate Ross, right? How can you actually hate Ross, right? Ross is such a nice fucking guy, doesn't say anything really controversial for you to hate him. But there's still people that hate Ross. Okay? That's how being a YouTuber, content creator, or any kind of public figure works, right? Now, you have two choices. You can either respond to them a little bit, laugh at them, right? Not respond at all, or paint them to be some evil, dastardly motherfucker. And Sean Ross Sapp chooses the worst one, which is painting them to be evil, which isn't the case. Isn't the case, alright? If you disagree with somebody, okay, cool, disagree. But you don't need to fucking, you're a Nazi. You don't need to do that, right? Why? But that's the kind of thing Sean Ross Sapp does. And a lot of people yesterday, man, were fucking going after him, including Pro Wrestling Times and Millennial Smark. And Millennial Smark, man, fucking destroyed Sean Ross Sapp, exposed loads of DMs with Sapp. So I suggest you go and watch that if you haven't already, man. It's really good. It's a long-ass video, don't get me wrong, it's a long video, but exposes DMs with Sapp and really fucks him up. But speaking of Fightful Select have confirmed that AEW will be moving away from their stadium show in Australia, and they're now going to, I think it's a 13,500 seat arena, I believe. I can't remember what it's called, because I'm not from Australia, right? But I had a feeling this would happen, because they decided to go Wembley right? Which, fine, okay, there's a lot of British fans that will pay to fucking see Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, believe it or not. Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, anytime they come to the UK, they have a fucking thing where people pay to go and see them, right? Not for me, but that's what these guys do. But see, you're going to get a big audience at Wembley Stadium, right? Because a lot of British people, man, they just don't seem to understand that wrestling isn't what they think it is, and they're stuck with the Wrestle Talk mindset, right? So you're going to get that. Apparently Australia isn't the case. Now, I believe it's being blamed on a Billie Eilish concert and something else, right? Now, these might be valid, okay, because Billie Eilish, even though she's a talentless hack that whispers into a microphone for money, she's got a big audience of teenage girls with blue hair that want to fucking chop up their fucking downstairs area. I don't know what the other thing is. There was another thing, I can't remember what that was, but they're now moving to a 13,500 seat arena, and yeah, I have to say, what's the point in going to Australia for that? Because when WWE came to the O2 Arena, which is around maybe the same seating capacity, they charged fucking you out your arse, and people were willing to pay that extortionate amount of money, right? I don't agree with it, but people are willing to pay it. Are people going to be willing to pay that extortionate amount of money to AEW? It would only be that would make it worth their time to overcharge for those tickets, and people aren't going to want to pay for that for AEW. Who's going to want to pay that for AEW? No one, right? But then again, it could be the reason that Billie Eilish, a talentless hack, has outdrawn them. Or it could be because there isn't really much interest in Australia for AEW. Who knows, right? I'm not from Australia, so I can't fucking comment. But we knew this was going to happen. They decided to be overzealous. They decided to bite more than they could chew. And yeah, this is where they've gone. They've gone from a 45,000 seat stadium to a 13,500 seat arena. So that shows you AEW's state right now. Finally, speaking of AEW, and I better have a drink before I continue. Ricky Starks was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast. Sorry, Chris. Yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it the day before? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it might have been yesterday. I don't know. But he was asked why aren't you on AEW? Why haven't we seen you? Ricky doesn't know. He can make 1,000 theories about why he's not there, but he simply just does not know. That's what he said, right? Now, Ricky had some appearances for GCW, right? And there's been this drama between GCW and AEW because AEW booked a Hammerstein Ballroom for Ring of Honor. GCW was using that around the same time. Effie, who's a GCW wrestler, decided to call Tony Khan a fucking money mark, basically, because of it. Now Tony Khan has removed Ricky Starks from all GCW events, right? But apparently, and then take this one with a grain of salt, because this is just hearsay, Danhausen and many others are still booked for GCW. Apparently it's only Ricky Starks that's been removed. Okay, so this removal could be to do with Ricky and basically being on Chris Van Vliet and not being what they deem to be politically correct, not with real politics, but wrestling politics. Or it's what Effie said with basically fucking calling Tony Khan a money mark, saying that GCW is, they're the underdog and whatever else. Now, a lot of people are taking GCW. We'll cover this in two subjects, right? We'll talk about AEW versus GCW first. A lot of people are taking GCW side on this, right? And I understand why. It's AEW. Everyone hates AEW. And to be fair, AEW are in the wrong here, okay? They are, right? Now, I'm not going to take any side. I'm not going to take any side out of these two companies because as much as I don't like AEW, GCW is fucking 100 times worse. They are backyard, what Jim Cornette calls outlaw. They are 100. They are the fucking face of outlaw. They have fucking Effie fucking trying to toss himself off while John Moxley's got him in a sleeper, right? They have fucking a guy doing a worm, naked in the ring. I believe he was trying to get a pin. I'm not sure. I believe it was them that had slow motion Chris Jericho, where Chris Jericho and his band of merry men had a match against someone, and they was all doing. They was having a slow motion wrestling match, right? So, if you're asking me to decide which one's worse out of AEW or GCW when it comes to wrestling, I'm going to say it's GCW, 100%, right? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying AEW are the good guys here at all, but man, I'd love it for GCW to fucking go away. I'd love it for them to go away, man, because I don't know the guy personally, Brett, whatever his name is, who owns the company, right? I do know that they put on some shit, some really dirty, degenerate, outlaw mud show shit that really doesn't belong. It doesn't belong anywhere. It doesn't belong in any era. It's disgusting. Why? Why would you do things like this that GCW do, right? And they use the light tubes. They fucking use everything that fucking you're not really supposed to do. And GCW are killing careers, man. They are. But I've gone too deep into that. Let's talk about Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, apparently his contract runs into 2025. Apparently AEW picked an option to extend it. So that's what they did. They're making him sit at home for longer. Free Ricky Starks, man. If he wants to wrestle, let him leave. Let him leave. You're not going to use him. He's not going to make that much of a fucking difference in WWE anyway. Just let him go. Let him go. It's not hard, right? You've got loads of people on your roster, Tony Khan, who you are making sit at home and not paying. Just let them go and do something else with their fucking careers instead of holding them back. Because that's what you're doing. And everyone's now calling Tony McMahon. You've got JD and everyone else saying, oh, he's just like Vince McMahon, oh my God. And they're claiming that they're the first people to say it. No, motherfuckers, I said this last year. But I just don't have much of a fucking, can't remember what the word is now, influence for people to actually know that I'm coming up with these things long before fucking everyone else, right? But at the end of the day, Tony Khan is a money mark. He's holding people back that want to leave his company, or at least want to be on his show. But he thinks that they're leaving, so he's not going to put them on his show. Which they could, if they was on his show and they was being booked, well, maybe they'd change their minds and say, hey, maybe I do want to stay here in AEW. But that's not the case. GCW, I don't care about them, man. I really don't give a shit about what happens to GCW. And don't fucking come at me. You want wrestlers to not get paid and go hungry. Even if the wrestlers didn't have work, man, they've still got fucking 3 times more money than me. Why the fuck do I care about their fucking employment? Shut up. Honestly, these people, man. Oh. But let me know what you think in the comments below, man. This video's gone on long enough. Well, what do you think of my opinion on the Women's Midcard Championships? Do you think that I'm right and that they should have created only one Women's Midcard Championship that was not a copy of either of the Men's Midcard Championships, right? Or am I just a misogynist? Fightful, what do you think about the Fightful situation? You know what I mean? PWT and Millennial Smark, keep going to call him Devontae. That's not his name anymore on his channel. Millennial Smark. What do you think about those guys clapping back at Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp acting like a fucking bitch? AEW, let me know what you think about their Australia failure. Australia failure! Fucking buzzing! That's what I should call this video, man. AEW's Australia failure. And Ricky Starks, GCW, AEW, let me know about that shit, man, because, I mean, apart from the Ricky Starks thing, I really don't care about fucking GCW. Yeah, I mean, it's one devil against the other, man. I've got no one to root for here, but like, subscribe, follow me on X at crossman25. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.